Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to this episode of Two Girls, One Doc.
Two girls, one... Oh,
What?
I don't know why I said that. One doc.
It's your girl BD.
It's Florence the foodie.
And this is a rerun episode. We did not have time to record an episode this week, and we were planning on a break for next week because we're going away, and we didn't want to just not give you an episode without explaining why. So this episode is going to be a rerun of one of our favorite episodes. One of, I think, our best episodes.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And I can't believe that episode was 3 years ago. That's crazy. We've really been doing this podcast thing for a minute. But yeah, so it's going to be a rerun of that episode. However, at the end, we are going to do a real crime, because back then, 3 years ago, we weren't doing the real crime, I think. So we are going to do one for this episode.
Love it.
And then we'll just let you know what documentary we're doing the next time we're back. So there won't be an episode on the 18th. There won't be an episode on the 25th. But 3rd of March, best believe, there will be an episode.
Yes.
Exactly that.
Indeedy.
Exactly that. So, yeah, enjoy the episode. It's a great one. Can't even lie. So today we are doing a documentary called The Lottery Liar. Guys, it's on YouTube. Like, I would actually advise you to watch this, because I just don't feel that, even though this episode is going to be amazing, I just don't feel that we can do the stupidity justice.
No, we can't. We'll definitely link it in our notes, but this was actually one of my favourite ones because it was so... Like, what the fuck is going on?
It was ridiculous.
It was ridiculous. It was the most ridiculous.
Do you know what it was? It was ludicrous. And like, ludicrous was that word, I think, was reserved for
this particular
situation.
scenario. It made no sense whatsoever. And all the players in this were just as equally as like ridiculous as each other, that it was just like, how did all of you find each other? Because it's one thing for like there to be one crazy person, but all the other people around this person were equally as crazy. So it's like, how could all these crazies find each other? Like, literally, it's like
the stars really aligned.
It's literally like Wisteria Lane. If you watch Desperate Housewives, it's like that. Because I keep watching the show and thinking to myself, how do all these crazies all live on one street? They all found each other.
But then what it is that everybody is crazy, is what it is. And
it's
so
just,
on any given street is the craze. It's just, has it been released yet or not?
Yeah, that's true. So the documentary opens, and at first when it opened up, I thought they were in Blackpool because it was like a pier. Did I say that word right?
Yeah.
Did I say it right? Because I have an issue with... Have I told you before that I have issues with, like, those words? Like, a pair...
Yeah, because you say a tier instead of tear.
Like, yeah, and, like... Do I say tier? Tier.
Yeah.
How do you say it?
It depends on what you're trying to say.
So if you were to rip something...
It's tear.
And if you were crying...
It's tear.
Oh, I say a tear.
You say tear for both.
Yeah. I didn't even know that. Okay. But, yeah, so, like, if it was a pear, like, which is the fruit...
The fruit, yeah.
Sometimes I get a bit confused. I'm like, pear? And then if there's two of something, I'm like, okay, that's a pear, but why is the fruit? And then...
Also a pear. Yeah, homophone, sis.
I know, but my brain cannot comprehend.
The English language makes no sense because they just borrow it from every other language.
Literally. And I think that thing of me saying tear is to do with my mum, because this is another thing. Like, when you have African parents who were born in Africa, they will... my mum used to say, fuel, okay? And then, like, when I started hanging on other people and they were like, fuel, I was like, Mum, what the fuck are you saying? She used to say, match it. Machete, darling. So, oven.
It's true.
Oven.
It's so true. It's so true. You don't realise they're saying it.
You don't realise, literally. So, even this whole thing of tear, like, yes, tear up the paper.
I used to say swallow. And people, I remember when I said it one time and everyone stopped and looked at me and I was like, oh, it's like swallow.
Literally,
like, swallow.
You know what? So an ode to my African mother. My dad is but my dad is a lot better than her when it comes to these things. But yeah, an ode to my African mother. Yeah, I don't know why dads are just but an ode to my African mother. It's my Igbo mother, actually, very specific. But yeah, so they're on a pier. So in my head, I was like, they're in Blackpool. Like, they have to be in Blackpool because that's what... But they're on a pier anyways.
There's more than one pier.
Yeah. And then we see these two people on a roller coaster. The guy looks like Ian Beale. So I couldn't...
He looks... Oh, my goodness. As in... Do you know what? I'll get into it later on, yeah? But he looks exactly like Ian Beale.
Exactly like Ian Beale, but not
like,
Ian
no
Beale...
one can tell me that it's not him.
Yeah, but Ian Beale, like, back in the day, like, when all the Mitchells were still in... on
when he was
Albert
young.
Square. Yeah, when he was
before
young.
Women kept leaving him.
Literally, he looked the same. I call that hair the sandwich parting. So it's the typical hair like the white guys have, because you know sandwich, like when you have like a baguette or whatever sandwich you have, then there's that dent in the middle. He has that sandwich parting hair, like it's kind of floppy. Exactly what you'd imagine.
But he actually looks like him though.
Literally, he physically, facially looks like him. Dresses the same way. Hoop earring. Like, I'm telling you, like, we will post a picture. His wife, or the other woman who is by him, also looks like... She looks like she could have been on Albert Square as well. I think she's quite pretty.
Yeah, she looks like an EastEnders character, definitely.
I think she's
But then
pretty.
also, bearing in mind, this documentary happened... I think it's on YouTube, it says it's 3 years old, but this definitely happened, like, maybe early 2000s.
It was 90s, late 90s, because they say 1998.
Oh, yeah, it was. It was like 98, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it was, like, back in the day.
Back in the day. And she had, like, a really nice body. She was pretty, like... Yeah, she was great. So we find out that their names are Howard and Kathy Walmsley. And obviously, in my head, I'm like, okay, they're either brother or sister or they're married. So we learn one day... So the narrator's actually quite funny. It could be both actually. The narrator is actually quite funny because I just like his tonation. Like, he reminds me kind of the narrator from what's that show? Come Dine With Me. Yeah, like it's the same kind of very dry, shady, like English humor that he has. So he basically says in a really upbeat tone, one day Howard told Kathy he'd won the lottery and she believed him. And it was kind of like, okay, what the hell is going on? So basically, the narrator just says he bought fast cars, a dream home, and literally a lifestyle fit for somebody who was a multi-millionaire. Like, you would think, cool, this guy won the lottery. And then we hear...
But it was all a massive con. Howard hadn't actually won a single penny.
And it was like, what the hell is going... Like, what in the hot hell is going on? So the commentator now tells us that this whole lie started with £8 shoes.
And can we pause here? Because when we get to the end of the documentary, you will just understand how unnecessary all of this was, literally. £8 shoes, brother. £8 shoes.
I have to admit, the shoes were nice. They were shoes that I would wear now. They were strappy sandals.
I mean, but they look like £8 strappy sandals.
Oh yeah, no, but if
they weren't ugly shoes, but they weren't worth lying about the lottery for.
No, they weren't. But if Public Design was doing a sale and those shoes were there, you'd cop them. They weren't bad.
I probably have them.
Yeah, you see. So yeah, they were £8 shoes, and I was like, I am confusion. So Kathy is obviously in her room and she's on like her knees and she's in her wardrobe and she presents the shoes. And basically, what she says is really heartbreaking. Like, for all, like, my inner bad bougie bitches, you'll understand. She basically says they were out shopping. She saw these sandals. She really wanted them, but she knew she couldn't have them because they couldn't afford them. And that was really, like, wow. Like, it puts things into perspective. Like, people cannot buy £8 shoes. But still, it doesn't make sense.
It's not a priority.
Yeah, it's not a priority, but it still doesn't make sense that a lottery lie was born of these shoes. But whatever.
This is the thing. Do you know what? It's really sad that she couldn't afford the £8 shoes. And like the £8 shoes. Okay, the problem with the £8 shoes is that this spawned however long, like lies and lies and lies. Like it spiraled. Like I understand the snowball effect, yeah, but this did not need to be.
It didn't need to be what it was. Yeah.
It wasn't the boiler's on the clink and they needed to get another one, or
it wasn't like, even like your kid was sick and needed like a very expensive whatever. Like it was a pair of flipping shoes. Like what? Even if the shoes weren't £8, even if they were 50, even if they were 500,
exactly.
It doesn't. Exactly. They're shoes. They are shoes.
And this is the thing. He could have just said, "Oh, I won. I found some money and here are the shoes." Like, you didn't have to say, like, okay, let's get into it, because then the more you learn about the story,
the more you're just like
the more stupid it is. Like,
so Kathy's all like, they can't get the shoes because you can't afford them. But then Howard says,
but Howard says, get them. And I says, no, can't afford them. He says, get them. Get whatever you want. Treat yourself. We won the lottery.
Treat yourself. We won the lottery. Did I do the accent right?
You know, for me, it's like London, Birmingham, and then everything north of Birmingham.
Literally. Sorry, guys, but yeah, that's the best I could do.
That's why they sound from Doncaster. Doncaster is like a Manchester accent, but just more more.
I really hate that Doncaster name. It just sounds so...
It sounds like the accent.
Yeah, it makes me cringe. Sorry, guys.
See, but I actually like the Manchester accent. Like, I love it.
Oh, okay, you're a bit partial.
I just want my kids to sound like that.
You're a bit partial, but yeah.
Yeah, I love Manchester.
Yeah, I actually hate the Manchester accent.
0161 money on the map.
I hate the Manchester accent, but that's a very personal reason.
Wait, why do you hate the Manchester accent?
Oh, actually, I hate the Newcastle accent. It's not the Manchester. I hate the Newcastle accent because of one specific person.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not Manchester.
Yeah, it's Newcastle. think to one heartbreak I had in the many.
I remember. That's why I was confused.
Yeah, it's Newcastle, not Manchester. So we learn they are a married couple and they've been married for 5 years as of 1998. And Howard was kind of like a painter, so like painting, odd jobs, like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, decorator, that kind of thing.
Yeah. But he wasn't bringing in enough money and things weren't going well, so Kathy wanted a divorce. And I feel like, I mean, I don't know what it's like to be married. I also don't know what it's like to be like in a married relationship where like one person really isn't bringing enough money and it affects your finances. But I just thought it was quite an escalation. Like, my husband doesn't have money, so I'm divorcing him. And also, from the impression I was getting, Kathy doesn't work. So it's kind of like, okay, why could you not take up a job?
Like, you two are a partnership. I don't understand why you two are not trying to bring in money. Yeah,
literally, and
it was just kind of like a hop, skip, and a jump. It was like maybe they missed out information there, but like, I don't think, my man's not bringing in enough money. Okay,
so next thing is divorce. Unless like you're saying like
what did your vows say, sis?
Bam. Unless like you're saying he intentionally isn't bringing in enough money, like he's not pulling his weight. But even at that, you take a job.
Spending money that he shouldn't be spending. That I feel is a reason for divorce.
It just didn't make sense, to be honest. But anyways, either way, their marriage was on the rocks. So at this point, the camera's on both of them. They're on the couch and, you know, we see the fake Ian Beale. And he basically says...
Everything looks so, like, 90s.
It literally looks
so,
like...
late 90s, early 2000s. Like, everything just looks like... I just want to put a filter on the top and brighten it up a bit.
And brighten it up and modernise it. Because it reminds me of, like, when we were living in Hackney. So I used to live in Hackney back in the day. Like, and that... We were probably in Hackney at that time. In fact, we 100% were in Hackney. And it just reminds me of that flat we lived in then. Like, it's very, like... yeah, like, I don't know. It's very like, I remember back then you would watch Nickelodeon and I'd be watching Are You Afraid of the Dark? And it's just took me back.
It's very, And
back then my mum still used to fry chicken nuggets and it was only me. So she actually used to ask me what I wanted to eat for dinner. Like, it took me back to a better time.
Wow. We're getting in deep there. Therapy, where you at?
Where you at, B? So in comes Faking Bill and he basically says he came up with the lie to tell her he'd won the lottery in hopes that it'll buy him time to save the relationship, which again it just seems like these two are very erratic individuals, and this is what I mean, two crazies found each other, because like, okay, my wife is leaving me because I'm broke, next let me tell her I won the lottery. Like,
see, but then this is the thing. So then the whole thing about the shoes is like, is deeper than the shoes. Do you know what I mean? The shoes are a representation of the fact that like he can't afford to treat her or to like pay the bills or like run the house or whatever. So I don't think in his defense, I don't think that it was solely, oh, she wanted a nice pair of shoes. It was like, oh, okay, I can make it seem as though like I won the lottery, we're going to be fine, please don't leave me. Which again, like you said, is very erratic. It's very like, fam, how did you get here?
Literally, it's insane. It's like, what an escalation. Like, it just didn't need to be... It didn't need to be this.
You didn't need it, yeah.
It didn't need to be this. Like, you could have even lied and said you got a job. That would have made more sense. So many men do that. So many... I don't know if it's because I watch too many TV shows, but so many men lie that they have jobs and then they go and spend the day at the park in their suit. Like, you could have done that. Like, you didn't need to... Lie. Because when you say you've won the lottery... And anyways, we'll get into it later. So... He's kind of like, okay, keep it on the low, like I won the lottery, which is like the standard thing. Like, if I won the lottery today, I wouldn't tell I wouldn't tell a number of people. I might just show up with Birkins for my friends and be like, oh, I was feeling magnanimous. But I'm not going to be screaming from the chandelier like, oh, I won the lottery. If
I won the lottery, my sister and I have had this conversation so many times. If I won the lottery, I wouldn't tell anyone. I would tell my sister... And that's that. I would not tell anybody because I know
even me?
I would not tell a soul. I know that once I tell my mother, that's it. The whole family is sorted. And then I know, like, I just wouldn't tell anyone. Like you said, maybe I'll show up with some fancy gifts. Maybe I'll claim I had a sugar daddy, whatever. I'll say I got a raise in my job or whatever. But I would probably buy a house. But I wouldn't even tell anyone I bought a house. I would just be acting like I'm paying rent and just be in that place. I literally would just live my life the same way, just with a bit more like pizzazz. I'm not babe
Okay,
size. I wouldn't go out and like get 5 Chanels, but I might. But I wouldn't wear them. I would just have them as investment pieces, and then we'll have one. I would have like a boy bag maybe, or a classic flap that I would
like knowing
have
me,
as my day bag.
That would not happen, but I wouldn't tell anyone. People probably just assume that she's won the lottery based on how I'm living my life, but I wouldn't go crazy.
But I don't think it's anyone's go-to to say you won the lottery. Like, that's why this thing is so weird. Like, I wouldn't be like, I'd be like, right, sugar daddy, or what? What are we saying? Like, I wouldn't think, oh, you won the lottery. That wouldn't be my first thought.
It's true. This all reminds me just to play the lottery after this. But yeah, I wouldn't tell anyone.
Yeah, no, definitely. I've been meaning to.
I would not tell anyone. No, I would tell my family, but I wouldn't tell friends. I would just...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You wouldn't. Like, the thing is, if you asked me, I would tell you. But the thing with friends is that, like, then it becomes like, oh, my days, my friend won the lottery. And it just becomes a thing where it's just like a story like, oh, I know someone who won the lottery.
Yeah.
And then you become someone who won the lottery. And it's a thing where it's like, people just think that you have stuff now.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I do. But
yeah, I do.
Not for you to know.
It's true. But I feel like sometimes having friends is better than family, because although my family is quite controlled, like, I don't think anybody would try to take financial advantage. But friends, because there's already that barrier, you don't have that. I don't expect my friend to pay my bills even if they won the lottery. So telling them might even be better, because if you won the lottery, for example, like, yeah, drinks are on you, but I'm not going to then tell you, okay, take up my car payments. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. But either way, it would be on the low.
I feel like I would be like, oh, guys, like, I got a brand trip to go to wherever, like, we should go, and then we all just go.
Or I might just say, if like I showed up with Birkins for everyone, I'd be like, oh yeah, like somebody left me a lot of money in their will.
Sorry, before you get into that, I prefer the Hermes Kelly to the Birkin. I'm not really a fan of the Birkin. So for me, if you're trying to get that for me, I prefer a Kelly 25, gold hardware, and black Epsom leather. That is my preferred.
I can see you've done your research.
Or Hermes. That is my Hermes bag.
But Birkins are better. Aren't Birkins better investments though? Because I was watching a documentary on them. And the way like it works out is like the whole thing is you can own that they only sell in a certain amount of Birkins a year to maintain the exclusivity. So the resale value is crazy. I need a Birkin. I need a Birkin for investment purposes.
But this is the thing with Birkins, like, not anyone can just get it. So there's this girl I watch on YouTube, and her family's just like mad rich, and she got to design, I think twice a year they let someone design a Birkin, like design their own one. That's what I'm saying, she's got money. There was even this like Louis Vuitton bag that she had, and they had made it, but it was discontinued, and they made one especially for her because she wanted one. This is what I'm saying. There's rich and then there's rich in it. So Birkins, like, I just think they're very slouchy looking. Like, I get you want one for an investment, but I wouldn't carry a Birkin unless it was Epsom leather. Because even the one that Sweetie has, it looks more like a Kelly because it's more structured. I don't like Birkins because they look like slouchy tote bags, and I'm not a slouchy bag kind of person.
The origin of them makes sense because he was basically sat on the... So you
because put him on a plane and stuff. I get it. But even like, if I had a Birkin, do you think I'm putting it in the overhead?
Fam.
No, am I dumb? But just so we're buying everyone bags.
For that bag alone if I had that.
That's a private jet thing, fam. You're not flying commercial.
I actually can't wait to have money because there's so much in this world you just don't know is possible because you just don't have money. Yeah. Did I know that? But you can design your own Birkin. Huh.
Yeah. They do it twice a year apparently, and she got to do. I think it was it last year or the year before? She got to design it, and it was actually really nice. But yeah, I don't.
Can you send me the link to this girl?
Yeah, I will. I'll send you.
Yeah,
okay,
cool. I know.
And you know
Kelly.
what it is? You know when you watch these like luxury YouTubers, a lot of them that aren't like, not that they're not rich, but you can tell the difference between people who are like family are rich and who are like new money. Because the new money people will be like, I'm like, guys, I'm not doing this to brag, like I'm showing what I have, like I don't want anyone to be offended. This girl that I'm talking about, she just starts her videos, but like, okay guys, so this is my Bottega Veneta collection, this is my Jacquemus collection, and it's just normal. It's like she's talking about, it's like she's doing a Zara haul.
It's probably because in her world everybody around her has access to these things, so she doesn't
it's normal.
She can't imagine that there's a world where people like don't, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there was one time that she was wearing this t-shirt, and I was like, oh, it's a really nice shirt, so I went to look at it, and it was only $75, and I was like, rah, only $75, it's really down to earth. Literally. But yeah, like she's rich. And when I say she is rich. But so if I won the lottery, if you win the lottery, I'd prefer Kelly.
Okay,
Birkin.
cool.
Thanks.
I'll take you
because I actually wear that every day.
Okay, So he basically says like, yeah, he won the lottery to save the relationship, and he's like, keep it on the low, don't tell anyone. Which again, this made a lot of sense. But then
Makes
like
sense.
he starts telling people, which is
He
just
starts telling
like, and this
everyone.
is why I'm like, you are psychotic, like you are criminally
Yeah.
insane, because
It's
like,
actually a mental illness.
If I told a lie to you, for example. And I'm like, don't tell anyone. I'm definitely not going to be the one spreading that lie that I know will embarrass me. Why was he doing this? So he starts telling his sister and his brother and neighbours. And this is a very white people thing, because only white people are this friendly with their neighbours.
With their neighbours, yeah.
Literally. Unless you live in
But then Doncaster is a very white place. So, like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? They're like, it's like, oh, yeah, they're all...
Yeah.
Like, my white neighbours are not coming to me to tell me shit.
Literally.
Well, actually, no, you know my neighbours. One is actually mad cool and the other one is a bit...
Yeah. But like, again, like, this, I think it's a very white person concept for you to even feel the need to share this with your neighbour.
Yeah.
So he's telling his brother, his sister, and everybody like knows that he has won the lottery basically in this area, because it's a very small like council estate or whatever. Mm-hmm. So then he starts buying meals and taking people out, and it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, so, and I'm thinking at the back of my mind, like, where is he getting this money from? Because if just last week you couldn't afford £8 shoes and you really haven't won the lottery, how are you affording this?
Do you know what, as well, I thought about in this situation? It was like, you said you lied about winning the lottery, or less before it was a lie. You said you won the lottery because you wanted to, like, keep your wife and you wanted her to be happy. You wanted to get her these £8 shoes. Cool. So now, when did it become all about being the man of the town and stuff like that, where you have to come and buy everyone? Like, it literally is like you were stroking your own ego with the lie that you told, because then you were the one who went to spread the lie.
And it makes him less endearing, or it makes it more difficult to forgive him, basically, because it's like,
he wasn't endearing this whole show. It's like somebody forced him. I was like, do you know that the cameras are hit?
Literally,
like,
well, I mean, yeah, he wasn't. But I guess when I heard the initial reason, I was like, oh, I feel for him. He obviously was desperate, and I thought it was a spur of the moment thing, but it wasn't. So he basically says that, you know, he really enjoyed the attention people were giving him, and he never had this before, and people wanted to spend time with him. And it's like, you're insane. So everything's kind of like bubbling, and it's just a lot is going on. So he says, okay, actually he's going to take Kathy on holiday because they want to get away, decide how to spend it, like spend the money, all this, just get their heads cleared. Which again, like, if I won the lottery, I'd go on a luxury holiday, kind of, so it makes sense.
I would definitely.
But then he says that he takes her to Gran Canaria, which is like, Igbo people love this, like, they think it's so exotic, they think, oh my gosh. Meanwhile, it's literally just like near Spain, like, just chill out. So anyways, he goes there, and he basically is like,
You know what I'm thinking about?
What?
You know, in a very British brothel, when the guy's like, when he went to Spain, and he...
And then the sex worker was, what was she? Did you say Brazilian? And we couldn't decipher if it was that he didn't know that Brazil wasn't in Spain, or if this was girl. We've suffered doing this podcast.
Just go listen to that episode.
Yeah, guys, if you haven't listened to it, go and listen to it, because you'll get the joke. But basically, so the lie he told her about the money, because he was like, they need to be careful with their spending, which again makes sense, because he hasn't won the lottery, he's spending his own money. So the lie he told her is basically that the money is in an offshore account, and all they are currently living on is interest. So, I don't know how the lottery works, because I've never won it. But one thing I do know for sure is the UK will not transfer your lottery winnings to an account in Cayman Islands. That money would be in your UK account, as far as I know. So I don't understand this whole... I don't even understand how... She must not have finished secondary school, because...
And you know what it is as well? She wanted to believe it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And also, I don't even blame her, because all of a sudden, we're on this holiday, this expensive holiday. Where did the money come from?
Yeah.
Like, surely you must have won the lottery, because where did the money come from?
It's so true. I mean, I understand. And again, they're living on the interest. Again, I don't understand the ins and outs of what happens when you win the lottery, but this shit just didn't make sense to me. So they meet this couple on the holiday, and they start paying for everything. You know, they go out, they do drinks, they eat everything. They pay for everything. Obviously, the couple's like leeching onto them, because or latching onto them, because like I would too. Like if I met another couple who told me they won the lottery, and again he told them he won the lottery, why are you doing
And
this?
this is what I mean. Why would you do that?
Why would you do this? Like, we were on the cruise. When we went on the cruise, we met a lot of people. There were people there that you could see they had money, kind of, even from the floors, because depending on your, like, there are certain floors that when you go past, you need like a special card because it's like for the super rich kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, I ain't never been to that floor. But even when you go and you see from the buttons they press, you could tell they're rich. But nobody would come and be telling you, oh, I won the lottery. Like, even if I was on a cruise and I had won the lottery, I'm not sharing with people that I've won the lottery. But he shares with them. And then obviously their expectation when they go out is that, okay, these people are going to pay for everything. The couple claims...
But the thing is that
they
wasn't
didn't
even an
expect him.
expectation. Because they said that they didn't expect it. Okay, but the thing is that the fact that you've told me you won the lottery, there's a difference between you being obviously richer than me and me expecting you to pay because you clearly have more money than I bragging that I have more money.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, cool, you're gonna, do you know what I mean? And offering to pay. So it's like if me and you go out together, we both work, we both have jobs, we both live at home. Like if you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna pay, I'd be like, sure, I don't mind. Well, it's you. I'd be like, hey, go sis. But in a normal person, I'll be like, all right, cool. No, let's go halves. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same. If I go to dinner with just dinner with Jay-Z, do you think I'm gonna offer to split the bill? No, I'm not.
I'll be looking. I'm ordering everything on the menu and 6 lobsters to go.
Twice.
So that reminds me of that tweet where it's like dinner with Jay-Z or whatever, £1,000, and then Wale responded and he was
give
like,
me the cash.
Wale responded and he was like, you people keep talking about this dinner with Jay-Z. I've been to dinner with Jay-Z and all he ever says is, do you want to try the escargot? And I'm like, I'm actually dying. Like, that nigga ain't got nothing to say to you. Oh, you see, there you go. That's my mum again. So anyways,
Yeah, fam, these people are just they just struggle. Do you remember that tweet? Yeah, I saw it come up again the other day where the guy was like, he asked his landlord to increase his rent because it'd make him go harder with the hustle.
Jesus, make it make sense.
Mad.
Everyone is insane.
Everyone's mad.
So Kathy gathers all her like common sense that she has, all 3 units of common sense that she has, and she finally is like, I need to dig. This doesn't make sense. So
yeah, because the bills are still piling up, but they won the lottery.
They're still getting
so
bills.
what does that mean?
And again, this is why Howard just isn't a smart con man, because it's like, if I did this, first of all, I would be at the door waiting for the mailman so that I can collect the mail and hide the bills. But he told this lie, and it doesn't make sense that you have all this money and you're not paying your bills. So he's still not collecting the mail. So Kathy still has like proof of the fact that they aren't paying their bills. So it's the math ain't mathing. So he just wasn't on job.
But then also, he wasn't on job. I mean, like we said, if you're going to lie correctly, yeah? But the thing is that, like, why would you not just pay the bills? Like, you're getting this money, don't you? And you want your wife's life to be easier. Like, wherever you're getting this money from, why don't you just pay the bills instead of buying random people drinks?
Literally.
Just pay the bills. So
just pay the bills.
Even though you don't technically have the money, you didn't win the money, you have somehow managed to finesse the money.
Yeah.
So...
But actually, we did learn when they went on holiday that what he says is he borrowed the money from the bank. So he borrowed about $3,000 from the bank. And he didn't plan on spending as much as he did, but because he was buying that other couple this and that, he spent $2,400 on that holiday. So when all was said and done, he has £600. Still pay the bills, like that's.
And this was late 90s, early 2000s. So like you can imagine how much cheaper everything was, and that 3,000 today would not take him any damn place.
Anywhere. That 3,000 loan probably wouldn't have covered the bills they had outstanding. So
that's not even crazy. Uber from mine to yours, fam.
So Kathy, like I said, she's gathered the 3 units of common sense she has, and she wants to find out, like,
you know that video of them 3 people dancing, and they're like, my 3 brain cells. That's Kathy. That's Kathy's brain cells.
That's Kathy. She's gathered the 3 brain cells she has to rub together, and she's done some snooping. And she basically is like, okay, I want to confirm if he's won the lottery. So she calls like the lottery people, and she's like, I need to know if like my husband won the lottery. And I guess this is like private information because they weren't able to say to her whether he's won or he hasn't won, which kind of makes this annoying, because if at that point they'd just been like, oh yeah, like he wasn't one of the winners, she would have been known. Yeah. But basically she said, okay, if he had won, it would have been on this date. They agreed that, oh yeah, like there was a major winning on that day, and what the sum that was won was £8,904,558. So it's kind of like, okay, she starts to, in her head, because he, up until now, he's refused to say the sum. And he's been telling people different amounts of numbers that that he's won, because it's based on the numbers. So he's been telling people 5 numbers, 6 numbers, this, but either way, this is the sum. So she, in her head, she's like, okay, cool, he won this amount. Like, and I mean, I wouldn't have stopped the investigation then, but I understand why in her head she was like, okay, cool, whatever. Like, he said he won. This is a date he won. Someone actually did win this amount of money. And
So why not him?
Exactly, and he's been spending like he has this money, so it must be him. So Ian Beale confirms that this is the amount he allegedly won. Like, and this guy just, because you have the opportunity now to be like, no. You even have the opportunity to be like, this isn't the amount I won. You even had the opportunity in the beginning to be like, okay, yeah, we won the lottery, but we only won £3,000. That would have been so much more plausible than saying you won 8 million. It did not, at every stage, it just never had to go as far as it went. So Howard is still sticking to his story. Howard is Ian Beale. We'll chop and change between the names. But Howard is still sticking to his story that the money was on an offshore account and they were still living in a council estate, which again doesn't make sense. Like, if I won the lottery today, I'm getting up out of this house. So like
with a quickness.
Okay, so it's not even like, oh, whatever, but I just buy my own place. Why am I still living in my mum and dad's house? So it just didn't make sense that they were still living like in a council estate when they had one. And nothing wrong with living in a council estate, but if you won the lottery, you're moving to a mansion. It's standard. Why were they living there?
I mean, they tried that, but we digress.
Yeah.
So there's one bit that makes me laugh so much. Yeah, where like, Howard is like, they're like kind of asking him like why he lied, didn't it? And then Howard is like, oh,
I had to lie because if I hadn't lied, then she should have known the truth.
I had to lie because if I hadn't lied, I should have known the truth. And I was like,
I was like, yeah, that's how lies work. Like,
I was like, yeah, I mean, like, nigga.
This is the whole premise of a lie. You lie so people don't know the truth, but we'll ask you, why didn't you just tell the truth? Like, what the hell? And this is what I mean. Like, I honestly think between Howard and Kathy, I don't know. In fact, I don't think they each, like, between the two of them, they have 3 brain cells to rub together.
I was going to say you were generous with the 3 brain cells.
Literally, I think between the two, because he did not even con well. Like, when you actually deep it, the only reason he got away with this is because Kathy is stupid. And I'm sorry, but she's stupid.
Yeah. And also because of the time that it was. Because, you know, when she asks him about it's because this was a time where checks were a thing, and checks aren't really a thing.
We'll talk
people
about
still
that.
use their own, but at work, like all the old people use checks, but like people don't really ever use checks. Do you know what I mean?
I'll get to that, because that was a big part of the con. But I also think a lot of it is just to do with the fact that she was also stupid. Like, nobody could pull this kind of trick over
and also she
man.
wanted to believe it so badly.
Yeah, no man could do this kind of thing to me because I'm not stupid. So
I don't know, man.
But I also think there's an element of the fact that, because we'll talk a lot about Howard, because I did some research about him after, like, his life.
Oh my God, me too.
Literally. So we'll talk a bit about him, and this is just evidence of how stupid Kathy is. So anyways, fine. He agrees that this is the amount he's won, because it's landed on his lap. Why not run with it? So they had a celebration party, and it's just like...
from not telling anybody to telling everybody to having a party for it. Knowing that you only have 3,000 that you borrowed, you have minus 3,000.
The lie you just keep digging yourself into a deeper hole each second this lie goes on. So they have this celebration of 60 people, and Howard spends over £600, which works out nicely because he had 2,400 left, and he used the rest of it
from the holiday
to pay for this party. So he's done now. So everybody's enjoying this party. You know, there's a buffet. There's, you know, like Uber buffet. What is it? Sausage rolls, quiche, whatever.
They have the bread, the sandwiches, the cucumber sandwiches.
The cucumber and the egg.
Cut up in triangles.
Exactly, the egg, whatever sandwiches, and the mini
without the crust
sausages. And then he buys everybody drinks. And basically, when they're called to this party, the premise of this whole party is they're going to get checks from him. Can you imagine?
For 50k, innit?
50k each. Again, 60 people, 50k. You're not... Even if he had this money, he would be an irresponsible person to have this money, because I'm not really good at maths, but 60 people times 50k, that sounds like a lot of money. Why are you giving all these people money?
That's a lot of money.
A lot of guacamole. You cannot have 60 people in your life that deserve 50k. The math ain't mathin'. So
that didn't have 50k before.
Literally.
They probably haven't even seen 50k. Unprovoked. Didn't want to say men lie unprovoked.
This is literally that's what this documentary should be called, because men just lie unprovoked. There was no need for any of this. So the directors is that thing that you like where she actually is a woman. She speaks to him, And then she's like,
So you told people you were going to give them checks?
and he looks at her like deadpan, like, duh. And he's like, yeah, 50,000. And it was kind of like, are you insane? Like, are you actually insane?
Is everything
like,
okay?
His face was just like, yeah, like, why are you asking her that? Why
And?
ask for that? Like, it's like, and? Like, so things just go from bad to worse, because to make this money realistic, he realizes that he needs to set up a lifestyle. And it's like, you're just deeper into this hole. So Howard goes to buy a Jaguar because this is his dream car. And we meet this guy called Jeff Gnomes. He's the GM of Jaguar dealership in Doncaster. I didn't even know they had a Jaguar dealership in Doncaster, but okay. So Jeff is telling us that Howard essentially spent £90,000. So Jeff is so happy he orders Kathy flowers, and it's kind of like, he says it's believable. Like, this guy says he won the lottery. He bought himself a car, he bought his wife a car, and then he buys like this extra car for somebody else. And he's like, you know, he'd never seen this before in all his days of sales, so he just had to believe.
And that's why I think it's so unbelievable that it's believable.
It's believable,
Because
literally.
It's like, this is so rare that like and people win the lottery, but like you just wouldn't believe it because no one's experienced it. But like it's not
Literally.
like it's never happened before.
And I have this theory about people who earn their money versus people who just come into money. So like, I feel like when you earn your money, you know you've worked hard for that money. You will splurge and live a certain life, but I feel like the exuberant like displays of wealth come from people who either have just landed in money or or have gotten it through ill means, like Hush Puppy. Like, Bill Gates would never live the life Hush Puppy was living, but Hush Puppy lived that life because he didn't work for that money. Like, he stole it, so it meant
and
nothing
he knew he was
to
getting
him.
it back again.
Exactly, and it meant nothing to him. But when you actually work for your money, you just don't do that kind of thing. So it makes sense that this guy would win the lottery, and because when you win the lottery, you haven't worked for the money. You've just gotten it. So you're gonna spend.
You've won it, yeah.
Yeah, in a crazy way. Which is why, like, there's this whole thing about how a lot of people who win the lottery end up like broke and whatever. So Jeff now says,
one of the things that impressed me about Howard's generosity was the fact that he was going to give a tractor to a village in Africa. He thought that that was the best way to help them.
and I was just like, I just put this in here because it's such a white person thing to say. Like,
I didn't even write it down.
A tractor to people in Africa, because that's going to solve all of the
one in the whole continent.
Which
Just
country
get out
is
my
he giving it
face.
to, and what is this going to solve? Like, what? Anyways, Kathy says her doubts. She had her doubts, but when she saw him buying cars, she didn't think he'd go this far telling porkies. Says porkies. So finally, they're talking about the house now, because Kathy's like, okay, cool, let's buy a house. We've got a car. We've gone on the holiday. Let's buy the home. So Kathy decides to buy a country home. So she's looking. She finds this country home, and we meet the homeowners, who say Howard was buying the house for £285,000 cash. Which today I'm like, if homes cost that, like I'd been owned.
The thing is that they probably do cost that further out. It's in London. You wouldn't even get a one-bedroom apartment.
In London, you wouldn't get a kitchen.
Because this is Doncaster, and this is in the countries. It's further out.
But then
you get a studio flat maybe for that.
I even thought that was quite a small amount as well for like to spend on a home. If I was worth I would buy a house that was a bit more expensive, but we then learned that they had a lot of...
The thing is, it was cute. It was like what they liked, didn't it?
Yeah, and it was better than where they were coming from, to be fair.
Yeah.
So
I feel like, if I was going to buy a house and like money was no object, I still feel like I would probably buy like a 5, maybe 6 bedroom house, but they wouldn't all be bedrooms. They'd probably be like 4 of them would be bedrooms, and then one would be like a studio for me, and then like one would be like a wardrobe.
I was thinking about this when I was...
The bigger the house, the more there is to clean, fam.
I was thinking about this when I was visualising my like future home. I would buy a house where the top floor of the house... So you know how my house is now, and on the top floor is my room, my mum's office, What I would then have at the top floor would be like a suite for myself and my husband. So it'd be like our bedroom, walk-in wardrobe, a bathroom, and maybe like a little like... On the landing would be a little sit-in chill area. Then beside would be all the like chaos. So the kids' room. Downstairs would be the chaos, and the kids' room, and the this and the that and the third. That would be like my ideal kind of dream home in the future.
Did you see Patricia's house tour?
Yeah, I did. And you know what? I was going to say
she had that window balcony thing.
Yeah, I've seen that window balcony thing before. It's lush. I was going to say this. I think what she has going up there that she just didn't want to say is that she has like a nanny It just, the whole thing she was saying about, oh, sometimes her and her husband sleep up there. The math wasn't mathing. I was like, sis, you have a nanny. Just say you have an au pair. Like, it's not that deep.
Do you think? I didn't even think about that.
I 100%.
That never once entered my mind.
100%. Maybe it's because I've had them before, but like, 100% think she just has an au pair that stays there. It didn't make sense. Like, just say your au pair sleeps there. I don't know.
Fair.
Yeah. But yeah.
It's even good because she wouldn't want people to know that she existed, let alone who she was, innit?
Yeah, exactly. But again, it just harps on like property prices in the UK, because that house is probably worth a good few million, and it wasn't even massive. Like,
yeah,
it was
big.
Spacious,
but it wasn't. It was like spacious, but like not. I think for the money, it's not like it's a shit house. It's just for the money, you could get a lot more further out. Because even on those like Insta pages that I follow, all the ones that are like further out, even like Greater Manchester, are so much bigger for the same 2.1 million.
Yeah, literally. So
I remember when I sent you that one. There was an apartment in central London. I think it was like 3 bedrooms or 4 bedrooms, an apartment though, and it was like 11 million.
Yeah, literally. For what?
Bump.
And for me, like, I saw this other house as well, which was like 15 million, and I could still see my neighbours. Why?
That's
I'm not trying to be funny, but if
I need to be able to scream and nobody hears me.
Literally, if I'm spending, I wouldn't say 1 million, because even houses like in Edgware can be 1 million and you still see your neighbours. But if I'm spending anything more than like 2-3 million, I don't want to be able to see my neighbours. Like, I don't want to be able to like step out and nah. I'm
have
sorry.
to speak to anyone, yeah.
Yeah, literally. So they've found this house they want to buy, and I'm just thinking in my head, how are they affording this? But I guess the whole thing of like saying you're buying it cash means there isn't a need for a deposit. So it's just about writing that check.
Of course. Mm-hmm.
So we see plans. Kathy really does show us these plans she drew up for the new house. Like, because obviously it was a farmhouse and they were going to have like a guest house, a pool, a gym, a this, a that, a snooker room, everything. Like, it was really, and this is the thing, you say that you don't want a big whatever house, but when you actually have money and you're able to build your dream home, you start to realize you want to leave your house
less. You can have anything.
Yeah, like, why would I not have a gym in my house, especially if I live outside of like far out from anything else? I'm gonna have a gym so I don't have to leave my house.
I'd want a gym. I'd want a gym in my house.
Yeah, then you're gonna want a wine cellar, because why not have a wine cellar?
I must have one. That goes without saying. There must be a wine cellar there. Oh, guys, we're not drinking today. It's early, innit? So we're just having water.
Water, yeah. And then you're gonna want like,
I'm gonna order some more of that. This is Moscato Life, by the way.
Oh yeah, 100%. And then you're gonna thing you're gonna want like a dressing room. So suddenly it starts to get bigger and bigger. But either way, she's designed this like dream house, and then the kitchen is like $7,000 alone to do. So it was 17 grand, I don't know, but something expensive. And we see the drawings that they really did. So again, they hired someone to do all of this. Like, it was just ridiculous, and he did all of this.
And this is the thing, and this is why Howard is just a trash individual, because it's like, you knew all along that this was a lie, and you let it get to this point.
Let it get to this point.
And Kathy, yes, she's stupid, but she doubted it. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, she could have been like, you so many times you could have been like, oh, do you know what, babe, I didn't win that much, or like, oh, I didn't really win. You didn't have to. So the more that you allow to pass, the more she's going to believe, oh wow, we really did win.
And like, you're feeding her this dream that you know is going to be ripped from her. When you find out the extent this gets to is crazy. So obviously he's got in a pool. He needs a pool cover, and I'm just mentioning this because it just shows you the depth of like his insanity. He needs a pool cover for his pool, and Howard says, okay, can we have a pool cover that people can walk on? Okay, knowing again that you don't have the money, and the guy's like, yeah.
Exactly. Why are you making these inquiries,
fam? You can get floor or ceiling one. So I don't really understand the mechanics of this, but either way, it would cost about £30,000. And he was like, oh yeah, do it. And it's just like, so far, basically, if you add everything up, he's currently spent about £500,000, like, of this phantom money. So Howard is like getting deeper into depression now, because he actually clocks that shit is happening. He doesn't have money, blah, blah, blah. So he starts spending £60 to £70 a week playing the lottery. And this is the thing about when you tell lies, you just make it worse for yourself, because they don't even have that £60 to £70 a week. They didn't even have £8 at the beginning for shoes. So now the money you didn't have, you're being forced to spend to upkeep a lie. And then there was one day where like 4 numbers came out,
and to try and win, to make the lie a reality.
Fam, do you know the desperation you must be at, where you're literally playing the lottery that is the biggest gamble and smallest chance of winning? to upkeep a lie. So basically, there was a day he was playing, 4 numbers came up, but he didn't get the 5th one, so he didn't win. That was God just being like to you, ha ha ha.
Ha
Literally, God was like, ha ha ha, motherfucker. So, this is so sad. Kathy starts giving stuff away from her home because she knows they're moving and they won't need it.
And this is why I can't be mad at Kathy, because as dumb as she's been, and like as shallow as she just seems like a genuinely nice person. Like it could have been she's giving it away in terms of like, you pauper, take my things, I don't need it anymore.
But we did get the vibes like that from the neighbours.
You know what, I don't need this. Yeah, it's like, you know what, I don't need this. Like, here guys, have my washing machine, we're gonna move. Like, let everybody win in their own way. Like, yeah, you didn't get your 50k check, but here's a washing machine, here's a sofa. Do you know what I mean?
So, however,
I feel for
in
her,
all
man.
of this, the 1.5 brain cells Kathy has, again, rubbed together, and they're like, the bills still haven't been paid, so what is going on? So at this point, Kathy, like, demands proof. This trifling man, and I'm telling you, it's because of this man, they stopped allowing, like, checks
to bounce.
Literally, this trifling man writes a check for £8.9 million. No one would bounce, but because for some reason it shows up on your statement for a few days before it bounces, and then he prints out this statement to show to her. So, and even again, she's kind of dumb, because if he won £8.9 million and you guys have spent £500,000, there should
Why
be
does he
8.9.
still have?
The math ain't mathing. Y'all are so
and
dumb.
also, what bank allows you to deposit 8.9 million?
That would get flagged.
Is there
that
not
would
a
get
limit?
flagged. That would get flagged. It would 100% get flagged.
But do you know what I think it was, that he didn't mind that it would get flagged as long as he was able to print out the thing to show her.
Yeah,
Maybe
and I think
what it
this is literally the reason why bouncing checks has become illegal. Literally just this case alone. So basically, I didn't really understand this whole premise of this, but basically he starts bouncing checks everywhere. Like, it's kind of like not paying Peter to like not pay Paul. I don't know if that was the right whatever, but basically he's not
robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah, but he's not even robbing. He's just
yeah, but it's like you know how people, do you know what it is? It's like how, you know how people use one credit card to pay for another credit card to pay for another credit card. It's like that, but with checks.
But he wasn't actually paying anything. That's
no, exactly. But the thing is that if I give you a check, then you'll cash it in. I still have some time before you deep that. There's no money in the account. Yeah.
But then
so you take your payment and then you be on your way.
But the banks were so dumb, because I don't know if he was working with like normal high street banks, or if it was these elusive like up and coming banks. But basically what was happening is the banks for some reason believed that he was a lottery winner, so they were asking for his business,
that allow him in it.
Yeah, and they were cancelling out debt because they felt like he was going to come into money and they would make more. And this is why we had the recession, because people that run banks are fucking stupid. So he literally was it was scary the way he was getting away with this. And it was just, this is what I mean. Like, this worked because there were so many stupid people around him. Like, not even the banks, nobody clocks that this was crazy. So obviously Kathy believes it because she's seen the whatever.
The receipt.
He's bouncing checks everywhere. He signs a fake check for the house. So he actually goes and helps the homeowners move out of their home into a caravan. And at this point I stopped laughing, and I'm like, this is actually scary. Like the fact
this
that
is
somebody
affecting people's lives.
Yeah, the fact that somebody can do this, and they talk about the auto homeowners talk about how it was so crazy to him that he could help them pack, laugh, watch them pull their kids out of school, sell their stuff, knowing that like the sale wasn't.
You didn't have the money.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And these people also, there's a bit where the women, so the couple who were selling the house and moved into the caravan were just saying that like, Kathy's actually a fool. For being with this guy.
Literally, that's what they said. They were like, she's actually dumb, and I agree. And she just gets dumber as it progresses. Boy. So moving day finally comes, and again, it's ridiculous. Like, he's actually moving. Like, it has gotten this far. Moving day comes, and everything works in. It's poetic justice. Like, it all ties in perfectly. Honestly. Because they're moving. And what I thought would happen was they would like get there and then like, I don't even know what I thought would happen. But moving day, I even thought they'd live in the house for a bit and then. But anyway, moving day comes and Howard gets arrested. And it's from some fraud charges from his previous failed business. And this is the point where and this is the point where I really look at Kathy sideways, because I'm like, so you must know your husband's a bit dodgy. Like, your husband, he's not a guy that's ever been on the straight and narrow. So this scam actually just didn't come out of nowhere. Howard has been a dodgy day for a long, long time. And
then with this business, this painting business where he's not bringing in enough money, is it that you want him to go back to the fraud he was doing so he can bring in enough money? Do you know what I mean?
So all in all, I'm like, if my husband was very dodgy and then you told me you won the lottery, I'm not inclined to believe you because you're already dodgy. So this is where I'm like, Kathy is even, she's even looking worse than that.
Her doubt should have been more doubting.
Yeah. And again, can I just point out, she mentions earlier, they have 8 kids between them. So you can't afford £8 shoes. You can't even give each of your kids £1. Why do you have 8 kids between the, like, get the fuck out.
The kids are here now, you have them, innit? Yeah. Why are you going on holidays doing up this when you actually have 8 kids?
Fam.
To look after.
And I'm so happy we just don't see those kids because they don't even need that.
Yeah, they don't deserve
either of their parents. They don't deserve either of their parents, to be honest. So basically this guy gets arrested and we see the police officers. The police officers just look like, you know, those typical like dumb kind of British police officers that just
like, I know what you mean. DCI Thomas.
DCI Dave Thomas, like, just, you know, wouldn't be able to crack, like, who stole the cookie from the cookie jar. Like, that's how these police officers look. Like, yeah. So,
me? Yes, you couldn't be. Then who stole the cookie from the cookie jar?
They literally look like they're well chuffed. That's the way to put it. They're well chuffed that they arrested this guy. And they feel like they've really done something. But it was like, this is a crime that like a 5-year-old could solve. Like, just chill the fuck out. And basically, like, even after he's arrested, Howard is still sticking to the story that he won the lottery.
About winning the lottery.
And everybody's like, "Are you?" Because
that's not what he's been arrested for.
Yeah, that's not. So he's like, "I'm a lottery winner. I can pay it back." So even these like Dumb and Dumber police officers are kind of like, okay, well, they felt like it was that it wasn't good, justice wasn't going to be served because Howard had won the lottery, so he could pay back all of his whatevers and just go back to living a normal life. So even they were buying it, and this is what I mean. This scam works because everyone around him was stupid. So he was a stupid con man, but then there were dumber people around him. It flowed because
also just the eccentricness, like the eccentricity, the way the story was just so like crazy. It's almost as if like, oh my gosh, like it's too crazy to not be true.
Yeah, like nobody can be this ridiculous without there being truth behind
it.
Yeah,
exactly.
So it took them. The narrator says this really funny thing where he was like, Howard denied it in the morning, and we see the clock in the morning time. He denied it in the afternoon. We see the afternoon time, and he denied it in the evening, and then we see the clock again. And then basically, finally, like late in the night, he basically confesses that like he didn't win the lottery.
And like, what was all this for?
What was the meaning?
So what was the reason?
He confesses to the police, and then obviously he tells Kathy, and she kicks him out. And I don't know where she was kicking him out to because he was already in the police office, but she kicked him out.
And also she was also out because was she not leaving the house?
Bam, that empty house. So you're kicking him out of a shell of a house. But the funny thing is, like, we see them in like, well, quote unquote present 1998 day, and the house doesn't seem empty. So something happened, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we see them presently, so like I guess they got their stuff back or whatever.
Yeah. So basically, men are scary because we then learn, okay, and this is the thing, never underestimate the audacity a man can have, regardless of his situation. A man can be broke.
Regardless of what he looks like, regardless of how many teeth he has, regardless of his height, regardless of his pocket, never underestimate the audacity of a man, honestly.
A man can be broke, a man can have no neck, Ed, and he can still have the audacity. Like, he can still have the audacity.
That's all they have is the audacity.
That is literally all. One thing you know for sure that a man has is the audacity. So, Howard has a mistress. This man is broke, but he has a mistress. And he convinced his mistress to take out a loan of £30,000 to pay for their new life together. And this was before the shoe incident. But then somewhere along the line, so Kathy actually believes that he wanted to move in with the mistress and start a new life. But somewhere along the line, he actually clocks that what he does want to do is keep Kathy around for a bit. So we learned that some of this money that he had been spending was the £30,000 he'd obtained from his mistress.
Yeah, from her.
So he uses that money to like convince people that he's a lottery winner to keep Kathy around, and Kathy now knows. And Kathy's dumb because what she then does is she twists this into like a story of how he loves her so much that he did all of this for her. And it's like, is it crack? Or is it heroin? Like, can you tell us what your drug...
You know what it is? It's actually good that the two of them are together. Because no man or woman should be able to be burdened with such a person. So the two of them should just be together.
Together. And nobody else should ever have to deal with either of them. No other man deserves Kathy. And no other woman deserves... Yeah, so cool.
Yeah.
So 3 months after his arrest, she took him back. And this explains why they're together in a lot of the scenes we see. Whatever. We learned that his scam cost his previous owners £30,000 because they had to sell the house at a loss and they had to cover some fees. I guess it was like legal fees and stuff. Oh,
so sad. And people, no one can say that this is a victimless crime because this actually affected these
This
two
is why I always say that when
least.
people say fraud is a victimless crime, like, it very much isn't, so shut the fuck up. So Howard says he says, I went to see a psychiatrist in Doncaster Infirmary.
And he said that that are an high risk of reoffending. I disagree with that. I think he's wrong for saying that because I've changed that much and I won't take risks anymore.
And he was painting a house, so I guess he got his painting job back on.
Or at least for that scene he did.
Fam. So we meet his solicitor, who's like a weirdo as well. I don't know if you clocked that, but his eyes were really like open. And
Do you know what? Sometimes I feel like we're very quick to judge these people on these documentaries. I do feel like some people are just weird around cameras. Like some people just don't like to be around cameras.
Can you just let me be a bitch
this like lawyer advice.
What happened to you these 2 weeks we didn't record? Like, can I just be a bitch in peace? Like, do I have to?
I just feel like sometimes people, the camera just doesn't make them look good.
Do you know what?
They're just so uncomfortable.
Next week, let's see how far you'll fall from your high horses when you're doing the documentary.
Ain't no horse, ain't no high. I'm just considering the feelings of the solicitor. It's when it comes to like professionals that are on here, because like Howard, like he can be he's weird. Something is not quite right. But the solicitor, he's a bit weird. But I don't think maybe it's because he is weird. I'm not disputing that. Maybe he's weird because of the camera in his face. That's what I'm saying.
So the solicitor was a weirdo. His eyes were very bulgy and his smile was very wide. I was creeped out. And basically he says the scale of his crime, like, he's definitely going to prison. It's just about like how long? Like, there's nothing that... I feel like this solicitor did the bare minimum. He was kind of one and I will do fuck all for this case, and then he liked it. Like, he just... I don't get the vibe that he did a lot. Like, he said, even as the defense, like,
do you know
attorney,
what I feel like he felt like this case was a waste of his time.
Yeah. He's probably like a court-appointed lawyer. Like, and they don't get paid that much. He's just like, I just don't care. Like,
what's it, pro bono?
Just go to prison and let me rest. Like,
just go, man. No one will miss you.
Just want to go home and watch Coronation Street, because I've never seen like a defense lawyer literally be so quick to be like, he's going to prison. Like, that's that on that. Like,
but I feel like the UK solicitors, like the police and stuff, the detectives, like they don't have as much vim as like the American ones. Maybe because of all the shows that we watch, but they just don't have with the Long Shot episode. I feel like I can't envision a UK solicitor or a lawyer or whatever doing
half of those things,
those lengths.
Yeah, it's so true. But then don't forget, when we watched like the Gabriel Fernandez thing, we actually realised that like it's not as true. That's true. So anyways, he's like, he's going to prison. Hasta la vista, see you later.
Next.
So all now Kathy's standing by him, and it's just like, anyways, I have no words. So these two broke people who are in a shitload of debt decide to go to an Indian dinner the night before sentencing. And it's kind of like, you're rewarding this man. I know that, people have to eat. Like, he shouldn't go hungry. But you really don't have to go to dinner. Like, literally, like, you really don't have to go to dinner.
The Last Supper type shit.
Like, and they were all clinking their glasses and as if he was going away to, like, a business trip in America or something. Like, what the hell are you doing? So the day of his sentencing, he goes to buy Kathy jewellery and it's like a £20 ring. And again,
do you even have the £20?
That's what I was about to say.
£8 shoe you couldn't buy, and now here we are, £20
literally, ring. Literally £20 you don't have. I really want to know where he's getting this money from. So anyways, he's now crying. Like, the way he was crying, you'd really think he was genuine. Like, he's crying, like he's going to prison, and you know.
And it's so weird because this whole documentary, he has been so passive, like as if this stuff just happens to him, as if he wasn't the orchestrator of his downfall. And then it comes to the conclusion and him like going to jail and stuff, and like them saying like he had 13 counts of deception and all that stuff. It's like, now you want to cry, now you're upset,
now you want to cry
because it's gonna affect you.
Literally. So Howard gets 3 years in prison, and Kathy comes out giving a statement, and she gives a statement basically saying that she's standing by him. He didn't deserve jail time. His motives were not malicious. And she basically says that she thinks he'll be out by the new year. And basically, in conclusion, Kathy is just... The whole premise of this documentary is just to say Kathy is just as insane as Howard. They were the perfect... In fact, I think the best thing for him would have been if Kathy had been on board with this lie, because I think together... They would have been like the Joker and Harley Quinn. Like, they are insane, but with less smarts, because they don't have the smarts to pull off anything serious. But
they don't have any smarts.
But they're
and
just
the thing
insane.
is that like he did this, like he lied to you. So one might argue that Kathy, you too were a victim of this crime. But to Kathy, she's not a victim. So how can I victimize you if you in your head are not a victim?
And
like,
I
maybe
think
then you are what's it called? An
accomplice.
Accomplice.
Yeah, and I think for me, the lying about the lottery enough, because for me that's scary. If you can do all of this to cover up a lie, you can lie about anything, kind of thing.
Like, he did. He has a mistress,
literally. But then on top of it, you're cheating on me. How did he even find the time to cheat with all of this going on? And this is the thing, I'm convinced men who cheat have 30 hours in a day, because this lie alone should take up 24 hours. He shouldn't have been able to sleep, but somehow he was able to sleep, eat, shit, and cheat whilst maintaining this lie. It was crazy.
Whilst maintaining the lie.
So I did some research on Howard now, and he's actually at large. They are looking for him because he
goes by John Eric Wells and or Howard Hemmings.
But Howard is not his real name.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not,
because in the documentary we watched, his name was Howard Walmsley.
Yeah,
he goes by Howard Hemmings and he goes by John Eric Wells. So I don't know which of these is his real name.
So again, I'm just like, I don't understand, Kathy, because you married this guy and you didn't know his real name, because they basically said that the Howard Walmsley is not his real name. So I don't know which one. I don't know which one's his name, but Kathy didn't even know her husband's name. Do you know how scary that is? So he's basically gone on. He's 60 years old or 61 years old now, and he's basically like gone on and done like similar things to other women, like scamming them, getting them to take out loans, giving him money, and claiming to be a lover boy. And yeah, they're looking for him.
No mention of Kathy though. Don't know if they're still together.
I couldn't find anything on Kathy. I don't know what's going on with her. But yeah, he still looks like Ian Bill. He actually looks like Ian Bill.
He looks more like Ian Bill now.
Yeah.
When I first saw when I googled it and I saw the picture, I was like, wait, that's Ian Bill. I literally was like, no, and I had to like keep typing it in and looking at alternative articles, because I was like, no, this is Ian Bill.
Because
like,
Ian Bill's put on weight, and so has Howard. So
so has he. Exactly.
Literally, they look. In fact, I'm sure that they're related.
They're the same person, man.
Same person. In fact, we've done your job, DCI, Tom and Dick. We found him for you.
Same person.
Albert Square. But yeah, guys, that was that documentary.
Ridiculous. A ridiculous journey.
A watch. It wasn't like a great documentary in terms of like how it was put together and stuff, but
yeah,
it was more
the story is ridiculous.
The subject matter was absolutely hilarious. So you just have to see it play out, because yeah.
So now it's time for
the real crime. I think was the beard.
Our segment where we focus on something during the documentary that may not be criminal, but we definitely consider to be a crime. Have you got one?
Yeah.
Go on.
It's the fact that this all started over a pair of charity shoes.
Bro.
that is a crime within itself, because you could have just either said you couldn't afford them, or I don't know.
Or you could have just stolen them. I'm sorry, like that would have been
better
better than this.
Morally, it's crazy to steal from a charity shop.
Oh, was it a charity shop?
I'm pretty sure it was a charity shop.
Oh, I don't know why I thought it was just New Look.
I don't know. I think they were £14.
Either way, stealing is wrong.
Yeah.
Stealing is wrong.
I mean,
they were £8. They were £8 shoes.
Okay, listen.
I remember it so clearly.
Everybody's like, whatever is fine, but like, I mean, what you want to spend is fine, but like, £8 shoes is what led to all of this.
And this is what I mean, and I think we said this in the episode as well, is that like shoes that are £8, heels, they're not a necessity. Like you didn't have to have them. Like you weren't gonna be displaced because you didn't have them shoes. It didn't make any sense to me.
It didn't make any sense.
That is the crime. The real crime, I think, is the fact that this Howard Walmsley guy looks so much like Ian Beale. Like,
oh
it's a
my
crime
God,
that they're not the same person.
I was gonna say that, but then I was like, I feel like it's a bit too obvious, so I was like, I had to pick another one.
It's a crime. A crime is a crime.
Well, we've never seen them in the same room together, so who fucking knows?
There you go. But then if he was making all that money off EastEnders, then like, why was he doing this also? That's the only reason I think they're two separate people.
Why did Winona Ryder steal all those things she stole in the 90s? It is what it is.
I don't get the reference, but I hear it.
Okay, so oh God, this is like Harry Potter. Okay, you know who Winona?
Do you know who? I've heard the name before, but I don't know. I don't know who she is.
Have you watched Stranger Things?
Yes. Okay. So in my head, when you said that, Stranger Things came to mind, but I wasn't sure,
She's
and I
the
didn't want to
mum.
be disgraced, so I didn't say anything.
She's the
okay.
Yeah, so that's Winona Ryder. She was like crazy popular in the 90s.
Okay.
And then she just became like a kleptomaniac. She would just steal stuff, and she obviously had money, but she would just steal stuff.
Yeah, but that's the whole point of kleptomania.
Yeah,
it's,
okay.
it's not like, oh, you need it. It's
Yeah.
just, you just want to. It's like an impulse, right?
Yeah. So I guess that's what Ian Beale's doing in this.
What, did she go to jail for that?
I can't remember if she went to jail, but she was blacklisted for a long time.
That's so crazy.
Like Stranger Things was like almost like her comeback. She'd done a few things, but not anything major.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was literally like her
But that's how you know it's a sickness, because like, why would you do that?
I feel like in today's world you wouldn't get blackballed for
Blacklisted.
that. Yeah, I think you'd be
you
fine.
might even be praised a little bit.
People just
she's just like me.
Yeah, people just make a few headlines about it and then move on. I think you'd be fine. Like, worse things have happened in Hollywood and people are fine. Like,
exactly, and worse things will happen by the time we finish reading the article about it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was my one. But yes, it was a great documentary. So yeah, like we said, there's not going to be an episode next week on the 18th or the 25th, but we will be back on the 3rd of March, and we will be covering the documentary Sherry Papini, Lies, Lies and More Lies. It's on Amazon Prime. Have you heard of the story before?
Never been. No. Sorry, I was just thinking Dreamgirls. I'm sorry.
I know you're doing Dreamgirls.
I'm so sorry, but like that particular scene, it's always Dreamgirls, isn't it? But that particular scene was crazy. Like, how are you saying that she's getting fat? Like, that's wild. And she was pregnant, and that was your woman.
It's actually a really, really, really sad
state of
story.
affairs.
Like, it's actually sad. Like,
it is.
It's quite heart-wrenching,
It
actually.
is, and we're all just singing and dancing through Effie's pain.
Singing and dancing along.
It is actually quite...
When you're doing vocals, this is pouring her heart out.
It's just like, there's a song I was saying that everybody sings as a positive song, but it's actually really, really sad. Oh, I can't remember. I had this argument with my sister.
There's loads of them.
Flipping heck, it's a proper popular one.
It's like that Burna Boy one that they use for a wedding song. And it's like, this guy's talking about heartbreak and people are doing up.
When I think of it, I'll tell you guys, but I can't remember. There's this song, but yeah.
But yeah, so we're doing Sherry Papini, Lies, Lies and More Lies, right? Crazy story. Very, very, very ridiculous. So ridiculous that I actually implore you guys to watch it, yeah? And if you think of a crime between now and the 2 weeks that we cover it, yeah, send us a voice note on Instagram. And we will include it in the episode, because you have enough time to watch it. And I've actually heard of this case before, but now there's a documentary on it. I'm like, oh my God, I can actually put faces to the madness, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, also last time we did mention we were going to do credits about stan culture, and we will.
Yeah.
That is going to come.
It's going to come.
That's going to happen.
Because... yeah,
and the stands aren't going anywhere anytime soon, so there's material for days. But yeah, that will come. We haven't forgotten. We're really trying to keep our word to you guys, and we don't want to just disappear without saying we're disappearing, like we've done in the past. So I hope you appreciate that.
And honestly,
anyway, we're going away, so if you want to see us, follow us on Instagram, because we're going to be doing up Postiana
and TikTok as well,
and TikTok. Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. All right then, well, thanks for rocking with us. You know where to find us: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, 2 Girls 1 Doc. On TikTok is 2 Girls 1 Doc Podcast. You can find me on TikTok, bd.mp4, and you can find our good old sis, who looks tired as hell, on Instagram and TikTok at 4ends the foodie.
Thank you.
And she's also going away again after we go away, so if you really want the content, you know who to follow.
Catching flights, never feelings.
She already caught the feelings, so we might as well catch flights at this point.
Which feelings did I catch?
Are you not married?
So just because you married a man now, you have feelings for him? Girl,
oh, do you know what?
Excuse me. So for real.
Excuse
Get it
me.
together.
Excuse me.
Stand
I'm so
up,
sorry.
sis.
I can't believe. I'm so sorry. Forgive.
It's absolutely stressing me out that I can't remember this song, because it's such a bait one that everyone's always like da da da, and I was like,
is it Yeba's Heartbreak?
No. It's like an old. I don't know why Michael Jackson's coming. We had an argument about this, and I was like, this is not a happy song, but people keep singing it like He's singing about...
Okay, when you remember, write it down and then we'll reference it next time.
Or I'll just post it. But yeah, either or.
Either or.
All right.
All right then.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, and also the trailer, there's a lot of on-screen text. So you will hear me saying what's on the screen because it gives you a lot of context as to what the documentary is about. But yeah, bye.
Where would you like to start?
I have no idea.
Okay, so on November 2nd, 2016, what happened?
In November 2016, 34-year-old Sherry Papini disappeared. 22 days later, she suddenly reappeared with a story of abduction and torture.
Do you do recall being kicked or stomped on?
Hit with objects, kicked, stomped on, yes. There's a lot of hitting. I didn't like being in the closet.
It took years to uncover the shocking truth.
There were so many truths that were a part of your story that it's hard to decipher the lies until you put it all together.
For more than 4 years, investigators carefully documented their investigation, including their interview with Sherry. In September 2022, that footage was released.
I love my husband.
So why leave?
It's horrible.
I don't think you're a horrible person, Sherry. I think things went a little sideways on you. What we want out of this is just, that's the truth.